On December 5th, 2013, the world lost one of its most prominent leaders. The world mourned for his death while celebrating his altruistic life and legacy as they commemorated his pursuit to end the issues of racial inequality, poverty, and injustice. He could not be contained by metal bars or political injustice. He is Nelson Mandela. From leading the ANC through sabotage practices to peaceful communication with President de Klerk, eventually becoming the first black president of a fiercely divided nation, Mandela led South Africa out of apartheid. His brave actions earned blacks the rights which they desired for decades, and he soon became a model for leaders around the globe. Olusegun Mandela was born on July 18, 1918, in Bezo, South Africa. When Mandela was 9 years old, his father died of lung disease, causing a drastic change in his life. He was adopted by Chief Dalanjebo, who believed that education was the key to open up a road to equality. When he was 9 years old, Mandela was sent off to a British Methodist school, where he adopted the English surname Nelson. After finishing his early education, young Nelson continued his study at the University of Fort Hare, one of the best schools in all of Africa. At the time of his enrollment, Fort Hare was the only residential center for advanced learning for blacks in all of South Africa. He studied to earn a bachelor's degree in art, but was expelled for participating in protests, and only earned his degree after his imprisonment. During his time in the university, the issues surrounding apartheid became a major political issue. Apartheid was a strict political system where the non-white population was politically and economically oppressed in South Africa, a country where the non-white population was the clear majority. It was established by the majority white government to separate non-whites from each other and ruining their chances at political power. From 1948 and on, blacks could not have political power, own land, or engage in interracial marriages. After realizing that apartheid was a serious threat to his people, Nelson joined the African National Congress, also known as the ANC, a political group whose main objective was to do everything it could to achieve a democratic and racially equal South Africa. Starting in 1949, Mandela led the ANC to use methods of boycott, strike, and civil disobedience, showing their anger towards the government. At this time, Mandela believed that violence was not a solution, using Gandhi as a role model for his leadership style. He used Gandhi's methods of peaceful protest at this point as a way to achieve the freedom he and his partners in the ANC desired. He led the group to fight for full citizenship, redistribution of land, trade union rights, and free and compulsory education for all children without segregation by race. As time progressed, Mandela, who was formally committed to nonviolent protest, began to believe that armed struggle was necessary and co-founded Umkhonto weSizwe, more widely known as the MK, which was a political group that had similar goals to the ANC, but was dedicated to sabotage and guerrilla war tactics. The most significant catalyst that led to using violence to achieve what they believed in was the Sharpeville massacre on March 21, 1960, where the government brutally crushed a peaceful demonstration organized by the Pan-African Congress. This demonstration led to the deaths of 69 people with 186 injured from the brutal force. The government's response to the peaceful demonstration and the subsequent banning of the ANC the following month dealt a serious blow to the ANC and its allies. These cruel actions conducted by the government led the ANC to reconsider their peaceful methods and the use of violence. Several years of protests and the government did not even budge, and attempted to conduct a nationwide protest. Nelson Mandela was arrested and was sentenced to 5 years in prison. After serving his time in 1963, Mandela was brought to trial again with 10 other ANC leaders, who were all sentenced to life imprisonment for political offenses including sabotage and illegal protest. During the total of 27 years he served, Mandela spent much of his time writing and publishing on how to end apartheid, which earned him a lot more support on a global scale. With all the time to himself, Mandela discovered that he needed to logically persuade the people, along with earning support from other countries in order to bring justice to society. His revelation gave him a new way to take on gaining support for the issue, and crafted him to pursue the emotional style while also appealing to both his enemies and allies with respect. Respecting everyone no matter their beliefs was one of Mandela's many lessons to those around the globe. In 1985, President Botha offered Mandela's release in exchange for renouncing armed struggle. Mandela flatly rejected the offer. Mandela believed so strongly in trying to end apartheid that his release from prison with having to renounce his thoughts was not worth it to him. Mandela was a massive influence to people around the world in the way that no matter what circumstances and conditions he was put in, he always stuck to his beliefs. His voice was heard by many revolutionary groups such as the Egyptians, who sought to overthrow President Hosni Mubarak to solve issues of corruption, freedom of speech, and rigged elections, which they followed ANC's model of civil disobedience and protests as well as Libya, who recently overthrew the dictator Gaddafi through armed struggles. Although the means of achieving the goals were different, all of these groups stubbornly stuck to their beliefs and did not give up until they got what they wanted, and all of the groups successfully achieved their goals. It wasn't until Botha suffered a stroke and was replaced by President de Klerk that Mandela's release was finally announced on February 11, 1990. Although the public was always preaching and protesting for Mandela's release from prison, they still had to wait 27 long years for his release. De Klerk also unbanned the ANC, removed restrictions on political groups, and suspended executions. A year after his release, Mandela was elected president of the ANC. At the same time, Mandela continued to negotiate with President de Klerk to have South Africa's first multiracial president elections, ultimately ending apartheid. Apartheid contained the political power of the non-white population, and with the first multiracial election approaching, this population could finally celebrate for the freedoms they always desired. In 1993, Mandela and President de Klerk together received the Nobel Peace Prize for their works toward ending apartheid. Due to their works, the goal that Mandela, along with the entire non-white population, had fought for over 50 years were finally achieved. On April 27, 1994, South Africa held its very first multiracial democratic election. At age 77, Nelson Mandela was voted in and inaugurated as the first black president of South Africa on May 10, 1994. During his presidency, he continued to strive for racial equality by appointing black government workers, criticizing the biased media, and giving lands that were taken away due to apartheid back to their rightful owners. He began to change his country for the better, giving the non-white population the rights that they deserved, changing every aspect of their lives from political rights to socio-economic power. By the 1999 general election, Nelson Mandela had stepped down from active politics, but he continued to help the country by raising money to build schools and clinics throughout South Africa through the Nelson Mandela Foundation. He also created the Elders in 2007, a group of retired political leaders and peace activists from around the world to help solve global issues. The goals of this group include promoting worldwide peace, offering help in the Israeli-Palestinian conflicts and in the Koreas, while also working towards ending climate change, HIV, and poverty. To this day, this group still travels from place to place, helping less fortunate societies and areas around the globe, continuing Mandela's beliefs after his death. As time went on after his presidency, Mandela got sick various times, like getting prostate cancer in 2001 and a lung infection in 2011. Mandela tried to step out of the spotlight after his infection in 2011, returning to his private home in Kunu. He was eventually hospitalized various times for complications of his lung infection. In 2013, Nelson Mandela died in his home in Johannesburg. Although his life ended, Mandela left a significant mark in human rights history, and his legacy continues to this day in all parts of the globe. Nelson's dedication and belief in equality awakened many other groups of people who had little to no political power, such as the Egyptians and Libyans. These groups followed ANC's model to voice their opinions, and many political leaders looked up to him as a paramount influence. At Mandela's funeral, David Cameron, Prime Minister of England, and Barack Obama, President of the United States, both cited Mandela as a huge influence for their leadership styles and for global politics. His beliefs are rubbed off in these two men strive for equal rights to different demographics in their respective countries. These two men take an enormous part in politics around the world, spreading Mandela's thoughts even after his death. Mandela was a dedicated man who showed people how to stick to what they believe in, ending apartheid and spreading peace, becoming a worldwide influence for many. Through peaceful protests and political sabotage, Mandela reshaped all social and political aspects of South Africa, inscribing another chapter of history on the face of his country, continent, and planet. A man who touched all walks of life, the legacy he left on our planet was inarguably one of the greatest left by any leader our world has ever seen.